So I'd like to welcome everybody here today. My name is Sally Geyer, and I am the global CEO of a non-profit organization called World Commerce and Contracting. We're an organization dedicated to enhancing the value and focus on commercial and contract management, procurement, legal, more broadly, the world of contracting. We have a vision where all trading relationships in the world deliver both social and economic benefit. I'm based here in the UK. I say here, you don't know where here is. I'm based in the UK, and I'm really delighted to be here today to talk all about AI-driven contract lifecycle management platforms. With that, let me hand over to Barbara. And Barbara, perhaps you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Sally, and hello, everybody. Barbara Alcalde, speaking from the Netherlands, where today we have a beautiful sunshine, which is not that common. And it's really a pleasure to be part of this women-driven panel. I work for Shell as contracting and procurement advisor. I've got around 18 years of experience in contracting and supply chain with Shell. I've been working for the last 11 years. And more specializing myself on digitalization of procurement and supply chain processes. So I'll pass it to Laura.
Very nice to meet everyone. Laura Mersinger, I'm the Vice President of Syrian Labs. I've been in the industry just a little bit over 20 years. I joined Syrian a few months ago. The main reason Syrian is, for anybody who doesn't know Syrian Labs, we are a SaaS-based company focused on contract lifecycle management. We are a leader in the application of artificial intelligence for contract management, as well as the governance of complex strategic supplier agreements. Really passionate about turning complexity into clarity and cohesion, and interested in and very, very excited about this session to be present with all of these lovely ladies. And
Ganga, you managed to make it in.
Yes, thank you. Looks like the introduction is already over.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies. I had a little technical glitch, so I'm just going to get it started. Hello, everyone. Hope you are having a fantastic day. I'm Ganga Sieberts. After 14 years with the Coca-Cola Company, I am now transitioning from being the Senior Director, Strategic Initiatives and Digital Procurement to an independent senior advisor, digital transformation, due to my family situation. I am excited to moderate this session on AI-driven CLM with a great group of panelists, which they self-introduced, that's great. Here's what we will start doing then. Let's get started with general questions to our panelists. This is to everyone on the panel. There has been so much advancement in digital tools over the past decade. Companies continue to invest heavily in the digital tools, while there's still some healthy skepticism amongst executives on digital usefulness. Can you please speak to your experience using digital tools to make your procurement function smarter and more efficient, specifically in the CLM space? Sally, maybe you can get it going first.
Ganga, I'd be absolutely happy to. And of course, I'm going to take this question not from my experience in actually implementing a tool in my organization. I'm going to let Barbara look at that specific angle, but I am going to talk about it from World Commerce and Contracting's perspective. We have been advocating for the use of technology to support our contracting practices and approaches for years now, and certainly well over the 10 years that you referenced, Ganga. And it's been really interesting to see the evolution of the use of technology in this space. You know, contracting remains one of the least reformed business processes in any organization. And that's very often because it doesn't have a single owner. Contracting is a very fragmented practice. And you know, buy side and sell side are often not integrated in any way, shape, or form. They're very disintegrated, if you like. So what have we seen in terms of the challenges specifically? Well, first of all, I would say that organizations often fail to properly consider their requirements, to really understand what the problem statement is that they're trying to solve through technology and by implementing the technology. Too often technology has been this sort of panacea, but actually with no real understanding and assessment of the solution that it's really going to provide, what the problem is. Process is really, really important. It's very difficult to implement technology on an already broken process or fragmented process. So we have seen organizations really struggle in the implementation because of a lack of attention on streamlining the process before the technology is then implemented. User adoption, understanding the user needs. It's so important to have engaged your users early on. And again, so often procurement technologies, contracting technologies have been deployed in isolation, in splendid isolation, without sufficient focus on the user needs at the very outset, and then training as well. And then finally, I think one of the big challenges that we've seen for organizations is the failure to integrate into wider systems. We talk so much about the data puddles that exist all around organizations. And we continue to implement, deploy technology, and actually we proliferate those puddles. What we need to do when we're implementing a contracting system, whether it's on the buy side or on the sell side of any organization, is look at those integrations. What are the data flows that we need to organize? So lots and lots of challenges. I think the really good news, though, is that over the last 10 years or so, we've seen dramatic improvements, and perhaps we'll come on to talk about that, Ganga, in the context of the second question.
Yeah, maybe I can give my perspective and how it's been the journey at Shell. And the first thing I want to say is that digital transformation does not happen overnight. It's a journey of years and years and years. And yeah, and I can tell you from my experience. And I want to go back in time, as Shelly was saying, 10 years, and we started the journey to digitalize. But the first thing we did was to get the basics right. And what are those basics? So very important, the processes. So I'm reinforcing what just Shelly said. It's important to have a standard process. And in our case, what we also did was to standardize our procurement template. So we had a standard contracts. And then if you think of the dimensions of a company like Shell, so many geographies, this is not an easy thing to do, but we got there. And then when you move into implementing a CLM tool, and of course the tools have evolved a lot and keep evolving. Back in time, 10 years ago, we just had a few suite of tools that were not connected. And our first CLM was little more than a repository of contracts with very limited workflow, some limited data reporting. Okay, now then we move into a more sophisticated CLM in which we could have more automation. Workflows were dynamic, were fit for purpose, and recently we achieved automation in the generation of contracts. So the user is going to get a draft for their contracts that they can directly use. Also, we integrated digital signatures. And all in all, what we achieved was a one-stop shop experience in a CLM, which we are pretty proud of. But the last thing I want to mention is about artificial intelligence. And the truth is that we have been only looking into artificial intelligence-driven technologies in the last couple of years. and we are still there trying and figuring out how we can implement.
Thank you, Sally and Barbara. Laura, do you want to add something?
Yeah, and I think, and to Barbara's point, I think despite the advent of digital methods, many businesses sparingly embraced, technology as a preferred operating and really preferred operating traditionally. And this was the case, I feel, until the pandemic really forced organizations to recognize the urgency to adapt digitization due to the various physical limitations such as contract management. Just besides that normal resistance to change, some organizations still struggled with process. So for the organizations whose culture supports defined processes, that very robust workflow and the workflow management that maybe didn't exist. Simple assignments with due dates were sufficed. And suppliers really, in our experience, are the easiest group to bring on board. That repository represents a single source of truth, the clear direction and accountability of what the contractual components are very important. And an electronic trail of these issues, disputes, claims provides a great value to suppliers. And we also are seeing that the AI-enabled platforms that are able to provide a drag and drop interface, right, to extract data from contracts and other documents allows that converting of unstructured data into the measurable and actionable information, which I think is key. Information is key. So that's really what we're seeing. And I think that resistance to change is just the normal process. And so that's one of the things that I think we see the most of. And as a SaaS-based platform, something that we're really encouraging clients to move towards is that auto extraction of data so that you know what you have in front of you.
Thank you, Laura. I myself have implemented both traditional and an AI-driven CLM over the past decade in several global companies, totally aligned with the same experience I had also. Now, if we move on to the next question I had in mind was, I think you all have already shared some of the best practices. If you were to tell the audience, the participants to take away, right? What are a couple of best practices to a successful CLM execution? If you were to narrow it down, what would it be?
So Ganga, I'm happy to take that one first. And yes, it's sort of arguably the opposite of what I said in my original answer. You've got to understand the problem statement, the problem that you're trying to solve. And we're here to talk about AI-driven CLM. I think we've got to be very careful about not being sort of taken down a rabbit hole as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. Is that what we really need? Do we understand? There are so many challenges around the use of artificial intelligence, not least the need to train it. And organizations really struggle with that process as well. So we really need to understand the problem statement, and we really need to understand what technology is going to support us. It may be that it's AI driven. It may be that's not necessary at all. So understanding the problem, making sure that you've focused on the process and you've streamlined the process. Take your people on the journey with you. Again, whatever you are implementing, as Barbara said, this is a digital transformation journey. You need to make sure you have engaged the users of that tool on the entire journey with you, because that will really help adoption, implementation, and then the integration into wider systems. Most systems now will and should integrate with others. We need to really focus on making sure that we have facilitated those data flows within our organization and increasingly across organizational boundaries as well. So, I really would reiterate that artificial intelligence may be the right solution if you understand what the problem is you're trying to solve. And equally, it may not be the right thing, and it may be something else that you need. But I'd be really interested to hear from Barbara on some of the big successes that you really experienced.
Yes, so yeah, time is limited. So let me highlight best practices in a couple of areas. And the first one is that CLM needs to be a good fit. And a good fit both for your end users and for your company strategy, digital strategy. And really what is key is to keep your end users, which is actually your internal customers, always in your mind, and only go for a CLM or a functionality or a solution that they will like it and they will use it, because you may find something super exciting and you may give them something that reads the contract and then the user, actually, I like to read my contract myself. So you need to be connected. And when you have ideas, always run your ideas through the users and have a good sounding board. And the other is that to have a good fit within the overall digital strategy in the company, and yeah, find a tool that fits in your roadmap and can evolve also with your roadmap. And the other area around the best practices is actually have a good partner, find the right solution provider. And this seems very, very evident, but really you need to also find a good partner that can take you in your digitalization journey. And what you really need to do, because from my experience, I've seen many, many demos, and demos are always wonderful, but you need to really, before you make up your mind to implement a CLM, just get your hands dirty and do a proof of concept, proof of technology, pilot, you name it, but just try things out. So go beyond the demo. So that's another area. And just one last point, just in case it's not mentioned, is really important, is change management. Really never underestimate the importance of change management. So I'll leave it there. Maybe Laura, you can share a little bit from your perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's key, absolutely. And I think really looking at the completeness of your solution, right? So effectively and efficiently improving the contracting process and outcomes are key. And to Sally and Barbara's points earlier, I think gaining that value of existing contracts is so important, independent of when or how it was contracted. Really managing the performance of your contract, including that risk, the compliance, service levels, any invoice correctness. I mean, value leakage is so important. So I think really looking from a CLM perspective, looking at that completeness of a solution when you're thinking of using tools and any AI engines.
Thank you, ladies. These are all great voice of experience. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to go straight to one of my last questions, and then we will have some time for audience question, and also there's a poll going on. If the participants want to participate, that would be great. Laura, to get a broader market perspective, can you please share some market trends to AI-driven contract solution? What advice would you give to customers who are facing challenges to transitioning from a traditional CLM to an AI-driven CLM solution? That would be great to get your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think market trends for standard, simple to mid-complexity contracts, blockchain enablement is on the rise. I think many niche players are already operating here. I think that on the complex contracts with many deviations and the detailing, AI guidance and redlining assistance is key. With relevance to the data mined and hone in on the engine in itself. So enterprise contract management is an approach to contract management that organizes a company's contracts, templates, and clauses into a single system for effective and seamless handling. And however the manual process of this method can be risky, this is where artificial intelligence comes in handy. It's that auto extraction. It's being able to access the information quickly, reducing the risk and accelerating operations. So the traditional and unsophisticated contract management methods can become a liability to several enterprises as risk management and agility become so crucial, especially in today's ecosystem. AI creates a more leaner process. It optimizes your contract management experience. And as a result, you can help reduce those human errors, accelerate your operations, and further maximize your human capital. I don't think AI is a direct replacement. I do think, to Barbara and Sally's points, that the human interaction is still very, very key. And allowing AI to really extract that data, especially when you have numerous and complex agreements with multiple providers, that AI and that auto extraction ability to redline is very, very important.
Thank you, Laura. And yeah, a lot of takeaway already. I have an audience question here from Marco Prachini. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's saying, I have been evaluating a number of CLM tools, still struggling with AI, ML, efficiency in metadata capturing, especially when not using contractual templates. Any thoughts and guidance is welcome. You may have addressed some of it, but please go ahead, any one of you.
I've been also evaluating many tools. And again, I just to reinforce the importance of doing a proof of concept and see whether really the tool you want can extract the metadata. There are many tools. I also want to mention, from what I've seen, that really this is a very dynamic market. There are many companies with wonderful technology, so really keep searching for a tool that helps you. I'm sure you'll find it. Really, I've seen really wonderful technology, and yeah, some companies offer exactly what you are looking for using natural language processing. I call this contract discovery, that you can just make the tool ingest a lot of contracts and just create a database with all the metadata from your contracts, and then you take it from there. Don't leave it there, and from there you start modeling your contracting process, and then you have full visibility of your portfolio.
Yeah, and I would just add really briefly to that. I mean, AI and NLP, as Barbara has said, it actually can be incredibly valuable if you're working in an environment where there are less standards and a less standardized approach. It helps you to create those and create greater visibility through the complexity of disjointed data, if you like. So it can be really, really valuable. Just never underestimate the importance of training it effectively.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sally and Barbara and Laura. We are almost at the end. Hope everyone had great takeaways, and I want to thank our panelists and also all the participants. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.